Most operators write house rules and expect them to do the work. They don't. Rules without enforcement are actually worse than no rules at all. They teach residents that the operator isn't serious and the structure is for show. But heavy handed enforcement fails too. Operators who treat every violation as cause for immediate exit burn through residents, lose referral relationships, and create the high turnover churn that undermines recovery. The goal isn't strict, and it isn't lenient. It's consistent, fair, and recovery informed. Here's what that looks like. Start with why enforcement matters more than the rules themselves. A documented set of rules is necessary. It sets expectations and satisfies the NARR standard. But the rules aren't the substance. The enforcement is. Residents in early recovery are acutely sensitive to unfairness. Many come from environments where rules were arbitrary and favoritism decided outcomes. A home where the manager's favorite gets a pass on what costs someone else their bed does damage no curriculum can repair. What residents need to see is that the rules apply equally, that consequences are predictable, and that the same behavior gets the same response every time. That predictability is itself a recovery practice. It rebuilds the link between actions and consequences that addiction scrambles. The core principle is simple: document, then apply. Every rule should be in the resident agreement, signed at intake, and explained out loud during orientation, with the specific consequence for each kind of violation spelled out in advance. A positive drug test? Immediate removal, with a defined path back. Repeated curfew violations? A defined loss of privileges. The point isn't that every consequence is punitive, it's that it's known ahead of time and applied the same way every time. When a violation happens, document it in the incident log, have a direct conversation with the resident, apply the documented consequence, and note the resolution. It sounds bureaucratic. It's not. It's the discipline that keeps inconsistency from quietly corroding the home. The hard calls aren't the obvious ones. A positive test is obvious. Open conflict is obvious. The hard cases are ambiguous. A resident who's technically following the rules but slowly disengaging. Two principles help. First, trust patterns over incidents. 3 missed meetings, quiet at house meetings, pulling back. That's a pattern. And the right response is a direct conversation, not a written warning. Sometimes that conversation surfaces real clinical information. Sometimes it's the early stage of a relapse, and the conversation itself is the intervention. Second, document everything, even non-violations. A note about a concerning conversation costs nothing. If things escalate, the record shows you engaged early. If they resolve, the file just closes. Relapse is the hardest scenario. The default in a lot of homes, immediate exit, no path back, is both unnecessarily harsh and inconsistent with the social model these homes are built on. A better protocol, used by many AARR certified operators: immediate removal for safety, same-day connection to clinical resources, and a defined re-entry pathway. Typically 30 days of demonstrated engagement with treatment, a fresh negative test, and a meeting before a bed is reassigned, all documented. It's more demanding than "you're out, period." But residents who have a path back are more likely to re-engage with treatment. And operators who handle relapse this way build referral relationships with treatment centers that send people specifically because they know the response will be recovery informed. And understand what inconsistency costs, because it shows up months later. Residents who feel unfairly disciplined leave and tell their network not to refer there. Residents who get away with things escalate them until there's an incident you can't ignore. Staff lose authority when they can't trust you'll back their decisions. Referral partners pull back when they hear mixed reports. The symptoms, high turnover, weakening referrals, manager burnout, often don't get traced back to the real cause: inconsistent enforcement. A few habits keep you consistent. Hold a weekly staff check-in to review the week's incidents. If two similar situations were handled differently, that's where you catch it. Use the incident log as a monthly teaching document. Patterns invisible in any one incident show up across 30. Hold a monthly house meeting where rules get reviewed, so residents have a voice and don't feel rules are imposed from above. And get external feedback. AARR site visits and peer operators catch the drift you can't see in yourself. And sometimes the consequence is asking someone to leave. That's appropriate. The question is how. Best practice is a written discharge process. The reason, next step recommendations, and notification to whoever referred the resident. A resident who exits with a referral has a meaningfully better shot at staying in recovery than one who simply dropped. The full article is linked below. And if you want help building these protocols, AARR provides technical assistance.